Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Shrimad Bhagavad Gita.
The House of Brighter Minds welcomes you to the launch of Gitopadesh, an online course to bring the wisdom of the Gita to children everywhere. Joining us for this launch event will be Daji and Sri Nitish Bharadwaj. Gitopadesh is a fun-to-follow program based on extensive research combined with contextual learning through age-appropriate examples, including relevant stories and references. To mark the launch, please welcome Heartfulness Guide, Daji. Under his guidance, the Heartfulness movement has touched millions of hearts around the world. Daji has supported the Gitopadesh initiative since its inception and continues to guide its development.
Today, at a time when the world resembles a war zone, where the COVID pandemic has devastated so many lives, and our children, in fact, an entire generation of youth and adults, are in severe need of wisdom and guidance, it is with urgency that the message of Gita needs to bring direction and solace to their lives. Gita is a message, eternal message. Gita is a signpost leading us in one direction. It has a great objective. That objective is to arrive at Sthita Prajna state. The whole purpose of Gita being preached to Arjuna originally was to bring him to a certain level of mind that will help him differentiate between what is right, what is wrong, what is dharma, what is adharma, and especially through such a state of mind, through Sthita Prajna state, remind him of his duties. It is in the silence of the mind, discriminative mind, that can identify the urgency. Can you imagine that moment where these brothers, these relatives, the gurus and sishyas, the great-grandsons and Bhishma, they are on words of fighting. They are face to face, and Arjuna dwindles. That's when Lord Krishna opens up to him and inspires him in some way. My great master used to say that it was impossible to recite 700 slokas or 18 chapters of Gita at that very crucial moment when war is just about to begin. It was then that Lord Krishna recited actually hardly 9 to 10 slokas. Rest of the knowledge that we see in the form of various slokas was transmitted to Arjuna. You know how our tradition is. Vedas are descension, or the Vedas were descended into the hearts and minds of our rishis. The feelings were translated into words. Similarly, the great sage Vyasa did the wonderful job of identifying the feelings, exchange of feelings between Arjuna and Lord Krishna, and translated them into words. All these verses are nothing but his creation of translating those feelings into words. One wonders, what is the purpose today? The purpose of Gita, the message of Gita, is eternal. It is everlasting, never changing. It has only one purpose. Purpose is to bring about certain state of mind that can clearly guide you amongst various choice making. So Gita, to my heart, to my understanding, should be introduced very early, earliest possible in child's life. I have seen children at Kana Santivanam, they start learning Gita at the very tender age of 4, 5. Of course, in the beginning, it's a rote recitation. But this recitation gives them so much of confidence. They may not understand the actual application in life. They do not even know what Mahabharata war is. They do not even know what Arjuna stands for. And they do not know what Lord Krishna stands for. Nevertheless, it creates a level of consciousness in them, level of awareness in them. Some sort of a footprint is created in their psyche. I'm really, really happy that the House of Brighter Minds is bringing this new course, Gitopadesh, for children to learn and explore the message of the Gita and absorb it into their lives.
Children from 5 to 15 years old can opt to follow the Gitopadesh course either at their own pace or via a live online course with a facilitator and trainer. The self-learning course is named Prajna, and the online facilitator-aided course has been named Vidyarthi. The courses have been designed to be completed in 6 months.
The wisdom bridge between grandparents and elders and the younger generations is almost broken. How are you going to transfer that knowledge to the younger, tender minds? It is through such storytelling. Gitopadesh will not be uniformly same for all. Little ones will they have own stories, slightly grown, slightly matured more, will have more philosophical approach to Gitopadesh, whys and hows and inner essence of it. Today, when grandparents and parents really do not have much time in inculcating such knowledge or such information to children, I think Gitopadesh sessions will be a boon to many of them. The big advantage is that this course will open the gates for many to get familiar with Sanskrit language, even in a summary fashion to start with. To my understanding, it's a whole different experience to approach spiritual wisdom through the means of Sanskrit language. The word Sanskrit means refined. It is one of the oldest, if not the oldest, of the all attested human languages. It is known, and rightly so, as the mother of all languages. Dear friends, I would highly recommend and invite you all to give this gift of Gitopadesh to your children or grandchildren. And I wish all participants enjoy and benefit from this. This is taking ancient wisdom to the younger generations.
And now, please welcome our guest of honor.
Who really doesn't know Gita? Everyone knows. And so too everyone are fully aware of who this personality is. Shri Nitish Bharadwaj. He is amongst us today. Welcome, Nitish.
Shri Nitish Bharadwaj is a renowned film actor, director, and screenwriter. He is a household name in India and is much loved for his portrayal of Krishna in the Mahabharata television series.
Honorable Daji, I must thank you for giving me this opportunity and this privilege to be the guest of honor for this function. Well, I am born in a very typical Brahmin family where my mother was especially a Saraswat Brahmin from Karnataka. And our mutt in Karnataka, Chitrapur Saraswat Mutt in Shirali, Karnataka, comes directly under the Adi Shankara's first seat. That is Sringeri Ashram. So I'm brought up on Advaita Vedanta right from my childhood. And on top of that, my mother was an exponent of the Gita and the Ganeshwari herself. So she used to teach the Gita and Ganeshwari. She was a head of the Marathi literature department in one of the oldest colleges in this country, Wilson College in Mumbai, right on Chowpatty Beach. So I was exposed to the Gita right from my childhood, and especially the not only the Sanskrit form of the Gita, but also the Marathi Bhavarth. We call it the Bhavarth. Ganeshwari is not a translation, it's not a literal translation, but it is the Bhavarth, the essence of each shloka, the verse of the Gita. Saint Ganeshwar made it into similes and metaphors and stories, and composed very beautifully. So I was exposed to all that right from my childhood. When you learn a great philosophy, the pearls of wisdom of the Gita and Ganeshwari as a child, I honestly feel you don't really appreciate the exact meaning and the depth and the intensity and the application of it at that time. But it is important to initiate a child on that path, so that the child knows that when in future I will need a good philosophy to guide me in times of in difficult times of distress, or the highs and lows. You need the wisdom and the knowledge, both when you are doing very well in life, to keep you grounded and keep your head on your shoulders, and when you have the lows of life, when you are not doing well in life. So it's important to initiate the children at that tender age of maybe 5, 6, 7, 8, even 10, 11, so that they remember that there is something I can go back to. Same thing happened to me when I was riding very high on my popularity. It was the knowledge of the Gita that helped me keep my head on my shoulder, and I remain grounded and rooted. And later on, obviously, the life is not of rose petals all the way, there are thorns as well. So, when later on the career was not doing too well, I was struggling all over again to and I Gita has taught me to take responsibility of my life and my decisions. So whatever happened in my life, in my career, is a sum total and a result of my own decisions, which in hindsight proved to be wrong. So I take full responsibility of it, and the wisdom of the Gita helped me understand why life is like this, why there is failure, how is it important to focus and rise again from that failure. So, life is the best school, and life is the best path to put you onto various human experiences. That's what we all are here for. We are spiritual beings here for a human experience. So, human experience means everything good, everything bad, combination, permutations, and combinations of all sorts of emotions. So, it was in those lows, especially, when the wisdom of the Gita helped me, and it is still helping me to rise and restructure my life, reorganize things, and do what I want to do, remain steadfast and focused, and also on the eventual path of Nishkam Karma Yoga. That's what I'm following these days. I do my karma. I've started, because of the Gita, I've started believing in the philosophy of the Gita, but especially Gita is everything. Karma Yoga, Gyan Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Raja Vidya Yoga. There are so many different aspects of knowledge that you can apply to your life. But eventually, what I have understood is, if you keep your karma on the right path, you will not go wrong in that realm where we go eventually, where we have come from and where we will go. So I am now understanding the depths of the Gita. I do not claim to fully understand it even now, but I know that I am now on the right path of Nishkama Karma Yoga, means do your karma without expectation. It's Nishkam. I don't expect anything in return. Well, as I said, I was initiated on the path of the Gita and the spirituality and Advaita Vedanta when I was a child. If we come out with a certain program like this, Gitopadesh is a very beautiful program, and if you come out with stories from the Gita and various aspects of the Gita are told to children at that level, at that age, at different ages, in a beautiful way that they will remember, it will just help them to understand that there is a solution to all the problems in life. So whenever in future they are in trouble, they will seek refuge in the right things rather than the wrong things. I've seen so many children who are not exposed to philosophy or spirituality as a child. In future, in their adolescence, in their adulthood, in their teens, when they have problems, they immediately resort to bad company, alcohol, drugs, for that matter. Even today, it's so rampant everywhere. That will not happen. And I think that is why it is important to initiate the children through various methods which are palatable to them at that age group. You'll have to tell the Gita in a palatable way, in a differently palatable way for a 5-year-old and a differently palatable way for a 10-year-old or a 12, 13-year-old. So that is what is important, and I think that's what Gitopadesh is aimed at doing. And I think it's really, that's why important to initiate the children at that level on spirituality. And there's nothing like the Gita. Swami Vivekananda once said that Gita is a bouquet of best chosen flowers from the gardens of the Vedas and Upanishads. When Swami Vivekananda says this, who are we to say anything more? Who am I to say anything more? It is so difficult. It is so difficult because each shloka of the Gita is knowledge by itself. It has its own use, it has its own application to our life to enrich our lives. So it would be unfair to say that this particular shloka is the best shloka. But to sum up, Sanjay himself, who narrates the whole thing, what is happening on Kurukshetra to Dhritarashtra, he has spoken the last word of the Gita, which is the last shloka of the Gita. It says, Yatra Yogeshwarah Krishno, Yatra Partho Dhanurdhara, Tatra Shrir Vijayo Bhuti Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna. Wherever there is Yogeshwar Krishna, means someone like Krishna who is a Param Yogeshwar, who is the Param Jnani, most knowledgeable not only in a parroted way that people ask me, do you remember all 700 shlokas of the Gita? So I say my parrot at home remembers. It's not important to remember all the 700 shlokas. It is important to digest the meaning of those shlokas, and like a random access memory of computer, when there is an issue, when there is a problem, like your RAM, you should be able to go through all those 700 shlokas and pick one and say, this is what is applicable at the moment to solve this issue, to solve this problem. So a man like that, who understands, who knows, is Yogeshwar Krishna. Yeah. Then where there is a Yogeshwar Krishna, where there is a Partho Dhanurdhara, the best archer, means we all have to learn to submit to a man like that, like Krishna, who's giving us knowledge. So that submission comes out of humility. Secondly, who will teach us the sense of duty? As an archer, I must understand what is my sense of duty at different places, my sense of duty with my family, towards my society, towards my country, towards the world, towards the nature. So Arjun stands for all that. And Arjun also stands for expertise. Whichever is my talent, whatever talent or the field I choose, I should aspire to be the best. I should grasp as much knowledge as possible from wherever I get that knowledge, with due humility, and without the ego. Arjun doesn't have the ego because he has the submission, the feeling of submission. That's most important. Each one of us, as I said before, is an achiever in his or her own right. And it is important, even if we achieve something small or big, important to forget that I. That I kills us. That I makes us 10-headed Ravan. We become bloated headed, that I have achieved this. I always tell people, whatever, I am the same man who did Krishna 30 years ago. I am the same man who is trying to make my films after 30 years, even today. But it's only sometimes that God touches your one particular production or work and says, here I have blessed it, go my son and do your best. You do need to submit to that higher power. And that's what that submission is also Arjun. So when you have a man like Krishna like this, a man like Arjun like this, then whatever victory you get, that victory is permanent and on the right path, by not harming anybody who in the path, in your ambition to win or to succeed. Otherwise you may harm someone who's not a bad man or a lady. They may also be on the path of righteousness, on the right path of karma, but in your ambition and your ego and arrogance, you have failed to see their goodness and you have hurt them, you have harmed them. So when you are on the right path of the Gita, when you have the right Krishna, when you become the right Arjun as a mentality of Arjun, then whatever success you get will be permanent and on the path of righteousness. So that's why I feel this Sanjay has summed up the entire purpose of the Gita in that one shloka. And that one shloka is my most favorite shloka. It guides me. It inspires me. I am also on the path of spirituality only as a sadhaka, as a learner. I am also a vidyarthi, a student of this spiritual path. But you thought I was good enough to be the guest of honor for such a great function and great cause of taking the worldly wisdom of the Gita to children worldwide. I thank you, Honorable Daji, for giving me this opportunity, and it's been my privilege to be here on this show, on this function. Thank you very much. Krishnam Vande Jagat Guru. Namaskar.
My heartfelt thanks to Nitish ji for honoring this program. I wish one day you will interact with these children and teach them also. Thank you.
Thank you for joining this launch event. For more information on Gitopadesh, please log on to the website link displayed. Stay home and stay safe.